Hello, friends and brothers. This is Justin with Masonic Improvement, joined with my co-host Dennis Yates,
Hey, Paso.
and
My wife keeps messing with my hat. She
yeah, I see
doesn't want
that,
me to have dark eyes.
and of course our inner circle members Tom Strasbaugh and Josh Kovar. So glad to have everybody here this evening. How's everybody's Masonic week been?
Oh, it's been peachy.
Peachy.
Yes.
That's good.
So peachy, I don't want to
Surprising,
talk about it on the line.
Gotcha.
Man, it hadn't been that
surprisingly
bad.
slow.
Slow.
Yeah, when you go from a very active lodge to a non-very active lodge, and you feel weird because you don't know what's all going on in that district until the DCO puts it out. It's kind of weird.
Hey, just be glad your DCO is putting something out.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many
Yeah,
that aren't doing their job these days.
Yeah.
yeah. I won't say he's putting it out everywhere he should be, but he is at least putting it out somewhere that I can see it. So it's kind of weird. But
I'm
that's why I
telling you.
texted him earlier.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I texted him earlier. I said it's really weird to not be in a know before you submit it on the Texas Mason app that what's going on in our district, because it's been like that for 2-3 years already. And it's like, oh, I don't know what we're doing in our lives this week.
Mm. Well, we have a Facebook page for my district, and I made it years ago. And I was doing most everything on it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not the DCO, and I got plenty on my plate, and so I just handed it over, and nothing gets posted anymore. But I can't be everything to everybody. Right? You gotta pick your battles when you only have so much time and so much energy, and so same thing with like I don't even know who our education officer is this year. They're not doing any education. I know that. We did
Yeah,
a
that's
whole we did
terrible.
a whole video over that, didn't we? Like the importance of actually doing your role when you accept
Yeah.
district positions and stuff.
Well, and
Yeah, know your role.
they're the reason why Grand Lodge does away with them every few years. So what happens is you got the Grand Masters that really see what the value of that position is, and they get a couple guys that are pretty good at it in there, and then they another grandmaster comes in and says, "Oh no, I like these guys better. I'm going to put them in," and then they do a shit show job, and then it makes it look like, "Oh, we don't need those positions. The DDGMs are doing that anyway, so we'll just not have those positions anymore." That's the big circle jerk that we have going on all the time.
Hmm.
Excuse my French. Got the girls with me. Sorry about that, guys.
No, I see what you're saying. Well, this isn't like a jab at anybody, but the, these officers are often appointed without really any real consideration. It seems like of their interest or the capabilities. Because I've seen many district education officers that have no interest in education
See that?
and really not even the capability of delivering an educational talk. And same thing with DCOs. I mean, there was one year I didn't know who the DCO was until like 10 months into the Masonic year when when I finally showed up at a lodge somewhere. And he wasn't even a tech savvy guy. He's not gonna be putting out communications or anything. So and
Well,
so
what's sad is you get. Go ahead. Go
I,
ahead. I'm
I,
sorry.
I was just gonna say that happens, and then you're right. What will happen is a grandmaster will look at like the data and be like, well, no one's doing anything. Why even have these positions? And so they go away. And then the ones that are doing their job, they suddenly don't have a position. They advocate to get it back, and the grandmaster's like, well, if people really want it, they're actually doing their job. We'll put it back in. And so it's just like this cyclical, like you're talking about. It just comes and goes every few years.
Right. Well, it goes along with another. You know, people being given honors and stuff without really working for them in general is a problem.
Yeah.
I see it all the time, and it's kind of like this year, and this will probably seal the deal for me. I'll never give one because I'm looking at the honors that have gone out here recently, and I know 2 people in the entire list, and I'm a very active Mason. I am more active than most Masons out there. And I don't know anybody but 2 of the 7 people that were given honors. And that's pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting honors of a higher on a state level or a regional level, everybody ought to know who you are.
Well, it's like a participation trophy, or the little pink ribbon that you get for showing up, and you see them just.
Well, it's actually more of who you know.
Well, I remember many years ago I went to one of the stock shows here in the county, and we were going up to the concession stand, and there's this area, and it's just like red, like the ground is red, and I looked down and I was like, what are these? And it's the participation trophies. So it's just where these people showed up, and where these people just showed up and they got their participation trophies and just dropped it because it has no value to them. So I don't know what happened to Dennis. He kind of disappeared on us.
He froze.
He
Ain't no
froze.
telling where he's now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna be DCO next year, but I'm gonna make that suggestion that we start a district Facebook page to get everybody a little bit more information on what's going on. Because, you know, don't get me wrong, I love our DCO, he's a good guy and everything, but, you know, just posting it to the Texas Freemason app was like, that's, in my opinion, is not enough.
Well, not everybody uses the app.
Exactly. And then, you know, the same thing can be said, well, not everybody uses, you know, I say, it's weird to say this, but not everybody uses email. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. But, you know, everybody's got a phone and, you know, a text message or a phone call or something, you know, that can be brought up.
Well, we have multi generations that we're dealing with right now. It is a unique point that we need to touch on, is that we do have multi generations. So whoever has that position needs to be able to function effectively in email, in the Texas Masons app, Facebook. Really, in today's age, they ought to be able to function with Instagram and TikTok. If they're wanting to get the word out, that's how you do it. Those are all the major points of contact to let people know what's going on.
But I do agree with what Dennis was saying about the positions that get handed out. They seem almost, I'll just say it seems arbitrary, and it's not really a meritocracy in a lot of cases. You see a lot of people that are really grinding their butts off for the fraternity, and they don't get much, and then you get like a random DEO, random DCO, and I realize that it feels like that you need to appoint these people. Like I don't know, like who actually appoints this? Is it the Grand Master, or is it the district deputy that makes recommendations on that?
DDGM gets to pick his team in most cases.
Okay, I thought so.
The Grand Master will make his decision on DDGMs, and then the DDGM can pick his team in most cases. But a good DDGM will leave good people in place.
Yeah.
If you have people that are overstepping or not doing their job on either extreme, then they might need to be replaced. But if you have somebody that's doing a good job and is very helpful, then they may need to stay in place.
Yeah. And so I was gonna say, I feel like if you're going to be a good district deputy, you need to have a pretty good knowledge of your district and who would be good at what. And often I'm not casting shade on anybody here, but I often see just, well, this guy could do it, but they're not doing it. And so you need to find people that are actively, because I promise you, even the most rural districts in Texas, you can find someone who would be willing to do communication. You can find someone who'd be willing to do some like outreach to the district and communicate things to people. But they're not the ones getting appointed to anything. Anyway, I hate to sound. I feel like I'm griping, and I don't want to come across as I'm griping, but I do think it's important. I think this ties in honestly to the talk we had with our inner circle on Wednesday about nobility, right? Because when and this even applies to joining the lodge itself. What is easily given is easily dismissed, and so that's why district deputy feels like such a big honor to a lot of people, because it takes years in a lot of lodges to even be a past master, and then it takes even longer, sometimes like 12, 13 years till you get the opportunity.
You have a big district, and it's going to take a long time for somebody to become a district deputy grand master. It means something to that person.
Yeah.
And I know several people from those districts, and I can tell you, man, they're at the top of their game, and they're the reason, there's a reason that they were chosen for their jobs.
I'd like to say also, though, and I'm probably biased here, but I think this also applies to your district instructors, because getting an A certificate, even a B certificate, is a lot of work. It takes a lot of man hours, a lot of mouth to ear time to get that down well enough to turn in the work. And then even if you have a certificate, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get it. It just means that you know the work. And so that's another position that's a huge honor, because it takes a lot of work to get it. And I'm not saying that DEO, DCO should take a lot of work, but it should be in recognition of something that has been accomplished, I think. Something relevant to that has been accomplished.
Don't leave us C certificate people out either. Come on now.
Well, C certificate's a lot of work. But
yeah, it's a lot of work, but I'm going to say, if you're going to teach the district, I don't care if Grand Lodge lowered the bar. I don't think that we should be lowering the bar on that if you're teaching the district. If you're a district instructor, then you should be able to instruct. That's why I say I am not a ritualist, and I am not going to be an instructor ever.
Can I weigh in on that for just a sec?
I can think of nobody more qualified than you, Cody.
With the district instructors in particular, we have quite a few A certificate and just for Josh, B certificate holders out there who know the work backwards and forwards.
Hey, Cody. Before my truck cuts me off and I go to my laptop, just in case I lose you, I love you. I just wanted you to know that.
I love you, Dennis. You're awesome, man.
I know you do. I know you do. I'll talk to you all in a few minutes.
All right, be good. So we've got a lot of certificate holders out there who know the work backwards and forwards, but who would absolutely not make a good district instructor. So we go through the process of putting new DIs in place every year to replace guys who are just stepping down for one reason or another, or in a handful of cases, this thankfully is very seldom, who are just not doing a good job. And if we have plenty of certificate holders who are otherwise well qualified to do that job, then we can put someone else in there or recommend someone to the Grand Master to fill that position and hopefully be more effective than the last guy.
Well, that just makes a lot of sense when you say it that way, Cody.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly.
Dang it.
Was that you, Dennis, making all that noise?
Yeah, that's me.
I was like, what's all that noise
Sorry
about
that? Yeah. I thought I hung up on you, but I just closed the screen and now I can't get back to it.
But no, we always appreciate your insight, Cody. What's up, Brad? Jeff, glad to have you back on, man. It's been a while. Good to see you.
Hey, yeah, I got a new laptop. I can't get my camera to work.
Uh-oh.
I'll see.
I'm rolling in the big blue hoopty, my work van, trying to drive home from Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of listening in on you crazy guys.
Well, we're glad to have you, man. Most definitely.
I wholeheartedly agree that the certificates is a lot of work and it takes a big commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And like Cody said, it takes another type of person to be able to teach it and instruct others, because that's something that you have to have patience to do and to be nice about it, and not be this, I don't know, you got to teach, but not, make them feel bad for messing up.
Mm-hmm.
Not be overbearing.
Yeah.
I agree. Maybe that's why I'm so bitter around these parts. Who knows?
Well,
Maybe I could have been a contender.
I will say that I have seen mentors before that they know the work, they know what they're teaching, like the catechism and stuff like that, but just the way they're teaching, and it's not that I'm not trying to speak negatively, but teaching itself is very nuanced, and the way you teach really has to depend on who you're teaching and what you're teaching, and what approach you need to use on this. And so I wholeheartedly agree. Just because someone has that A certificate doesn't necessarily mean, or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best person for the job. It just means that, oops, I didn't click that. It just means that they could potentially one day down the road, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best person. Because you're absolutely right. I mean, just because you can teach doesn't mean you should teach, if that makes sense. Because there's a lot of people that are very knowledgeable about just whatever their profession is. I'm not even talking about Freemasonry here. Just they're very knowledgeable about very specific things, and they do have a lot of things they could teach, but they probably don't need to be teaching people. And so that applies everywhere.
That's like me. I have a C certificate, and I would wholeheartedly love and enjoy teaching EAs and everybody their work. But I know, even though I have that C certificate, I know I am not ready to teach candidates hardly anything. Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of work on my presentation and how I teach them to be able to make sure it sticks in their brain, and it's not just me going through teaching them how to remember questions and answers.
Yeah.
And Josh, I'll say this to you too, my brother. I have no doubt that you know your work very, very well. But the catechism itself is only a part of an instructor's job. So it is important that we teach them the right words, the right stuff. But in Cody's opinion, I'm not going to say this is the prevailing opinion or thought of everybody in the Grand Lodge. There's a huge part of that instruction that needs to come with a healthy dose of what this means, not just rote memorization, as Kyle Walquist said one time, mm-hmm. But what is it that we're actually teaching these guys? If we stop with just regurgitating these words, to me, we've failed as teachers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I've seen to that point where a brother will ask his mentor or his teacher or whatever you call him what this means. And I'm not exaggerating. They're told, well, let's just get you through everything, and then we can go back and look at that later. No. And to that point, you don't have to have all of the answers, but you do need to be willing to find them and share them. Like, so if you know what he's asking and you can expound on something, by all means do that. But if he asks something you don't have the answer, it's okay to admit that, because that provides you a learning opportunity also. So you can go and learn, just study and brush up on that, and then next time you meet with them, or you can give them a call and be like, hey, I was thinking about your question, I didn't have the answer, so I went and did some research. This is what I learned, so I'm sharing it with you now. Now you're both better for it. He got the information he wanted, and you got the information you didn't know you needed at that time.
Yeah, two more quick things, Josh. Number one, I hope it didn't feel like I was singling you out in that. That was not my intent at all. You have the right attitude to instruct candidates. So wasn't directed to you in the very least. Number two, Justin, what you just said is Masonic gold, absolute Masonic gold.
Yeah, I got lots of it.
All right, like slow the process down. That's it. If
I appreciate that.
If we feel like we're so enlightened, educated with everything in the Masonic world, to the point that we're not willing to be educated on something, regardless of whether you've just gotten your first C certificate, if you're a district instructor on the committee on work or a Grand Master, regardless, if we're not willing to set our own personal pride aside and learn something new or be taught something new by somebody who's just starting out, then we really need to reevaluate who we are.
I think a lot of potentially good mentors get this analysis paralysis that ties into what you're talking about, where they feel like they don't have the answers and they worry about that. They might know all the questions and answers, but what if someone asks me about something I don't know the answer to? And I'll be as an educator, that happens daily. I get asked questions all the time. It's like, I don't know. I'll have to find out, because there is a wide from a human perspective, you can never anticipate all of the questions that are feasible to be asked, and so what the things people ask will be something you've never heard before, and it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to have the answers. You just have to be willing to find the answers. I learned that in the Air Force, because I was a financial manager in the Air Force, and you get calls and people will ask you about some random thing that has never come up before. I don't know, but I'll call you back with the answer. And that's what you do. That's just how you handle it. It's okay to not have the answer. It's not okay to not be willing to grow and learn it from a mentor perspective, if that makes sense. All right. You're quiet
Don't
tonight.
Don't worry, I'll be on the show in a minute. Give me just a second.
Well, normally I know as soon as I'm done talking, Dennis has something, so I go like, okay, we're good.
That was good.
That's a wrap.
I've said it before, and that this Ashlar mentor program Grand Lodge put out a couple years ago, it's really, really good. Like, you can basically read through with an EA before he finishes his work or whatever. You can actually, there's one for the candidate, so you can do before his degree. Is really, really thorough and explains a lot about Masonry and talk about sacrifice of time that you're going to need to do before they ever get to the degree. And then the EA stuff, it breaks down all the parts of the degree and explains what they need. It's really, really good. I haven't done the Philip one or the Mass Mason yet, but they're real thorough. We spent like 6 weeks, it was probably more like 8 weeks to go through the EA, because we would spend about an hour every Wednesday on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would spend an hour going through the questions and answers. And that was fun for me. It was good.
So you just printed it out and you went through it with the EA, like you read through it with them?
Yeah, well, it was a whole group of us. Some of us were EAs, some of them were EAs, some of them masters. But basically, we would read a section and then talk about it. Like, what does that mean to you? What do you think that means? So we digested it. We didn't just read through it.
I like that.
So it took us a while.
We got like 4 EAs at my local lodge. Yeah, we may start doing that, because I like that. I like that idea a lot. That'd be really good. You're so wise, Brad.
I know, wise beyond his years.
Just trying to be like you guys, man.
You
Don't do
heard me
that.
ranting. Yeah, you heard me ranting before this. I sound like a grumpy old past master is what I sound like. Jeez, I would have hung up on myself. I like what all you guys have been saying, and that is the reality that if you are in the fraternity for pure reasons, let's say like we talked about last week with nobility and the honor and duty that goes into cultivating that nobility in oneself, and the humility to be the servant of those who count on you, right? And that doesn't mean that you're the guy that's always doing all the jobs around the lodge, right? What it means is that you have a servant's heart to where you will provide for those around you, and you will lead to find that provision for those around you. So if we are pure in heart and we're seeking that noble nature about our person, then that is the exact person that we need to be our district instructors and our district educators and our district communications officers and our district deputy grand masters. That's who we need to be our district leaders, to help cultivate those leaders within the worshipful masters and all the officers. They need to be there and be that example to help us along. And I guess I air some emotions sometimes that I shouldn't, and I should have stepped back and thought about some of this stuff a little bit more before ranting. But I think that what all you guys are talking about is exactly that. It's knowing thyself and being humble enough to find the solutions to the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Or find the solutions to the questions.
Yeah, I agree. There's Jeff.
Jeff, where you been? We missed you.
Summer's a rough time for me. I'm away on Sunday nights,
Oh, okay.
but it's winding down. I play a lot of. I'm one of those old retired guys who plays in every community band within 100 miles. So
Yes, nice.
usually the concerts on Sunday nights. So
We
winding down.
were afraid you got tired of us.
No, I catch repeats on YouTube.
Awesome. Cool.
Nice.
Well, by the way, speaking of last Wednesday, because I mentioned earlier, we had a Inner Circle exclusive Zoom meeting, and let's see, who was there? Was Jason there? I think Jason, Josh, and Tom.
No, I didn't make it last week, unfortunately.
Was it not? Well, my point is, like, we've had several views, but there was only a few of y'all there. So if you, my point is, and it's not that I'm not guilting anybody. I'm just telling you, if you missed it, it's in the members only section, and it's definitely worth listening to if you have time, like on your ride to work or something. Because I feel like we covered some pretty good concepts over nobility and Freemasonry, and it was pretty unfiltered because it wasn't live and no one is going to see it but the Inner Circle. So
Well, don't be telling everybody that. They're all going to join for a month and then.
that's fine. But yeah, so just let you know the value's there. And I posted also in the Inner Circle Facebook group, I posted another one of Dennis's White Rabbit articles. So be sure you catch that because it's gold also. Really good stuff. I've been working on a paper I'm going to present to my lodge. I'm going to, Tom will probably be there. I'm going to one of my lodges tomorrow. And Tom's been really good. Tom's been writing a lot of educational pieces. And I've been really excited to see that. And so I got one I'm going to bring up tomorrow over concepts from Chapter 1 of Morals and Dogma. Regarding force and intellect, and it's
Nice.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like
agree.
it.
I agree. And so hopefully it'll be received well. It's going to be, I'm excited about it. It's going to be very interesting. And the reason I point this out is like we talk a lot about the value of education, the value of providing value to the lodge, and sometimes it just has to be us. I mean, sometimes we got to be the ones to do it. Dennis is a writing machine over there, and Tom's been working really hard. I know Brad's big on education. I mean, Cody is the embodiment of he's like the Texas Yoda over there. So
I know. I mean, he's got the Cody monitor. What do you expect? I mean, golly, the guy's legendary.
So it's just important that if we want to,
and he'll sign a copy if you bring it to him.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with Cody. I love it.
Going deep, yeah, Daniel.
Actually, I'm messing more than just Cody on that, for sure. But I don't think he watches. But I definitely, every time I see him, I make sure he knows I love the Cody monitor. Yeah, I think it's great that people are.
Sorry,
oh, that's a good one, Cody.
Yeah, that's.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I want to read that. So if I can't
send it to us when you're done.
Send it to me. Yes, I'll send you mine if you send me yours. That's for sure.
We'll share articles.
Yes. We'll share correspondence. But isn't that cool that we would not have all met if it wasn't for Freemasonry.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Cody.
Appreciate that, Cody.
We would not have met if it wasn't for Freemasonry. And frankly, we wouldn't be thinking about these. Well, we might be thinking about the thoughts, but they would be misdirected, I think. I thought about a lot of these thoughts that we have philosophically and theologically. I have thought about a lot of these thoughts when I was a teenager. These are the things that my friends and I would sit and contemplate, sometimes, a week at a time. We would sit and just contemplate the same thoughts, just regurgitating and talking about it every night because we really didn't have a whole lot to do. But, I didn't find my direction until I found Freemasonry. It was very random and sporadic thoughts. And though I had some good ones, and I feel like we have a lot of young men that are coming in with those same thoughts, those same, ideas, coming in the doors now, especially with the internet, man, we had to read books to learn this shit when I was a kid. So when I was a kid, I was a bit of a book nerd and man, I was into metal. I was into books. I was into, all kinds of music, not just metal, new age, you name it. I mean, I was into all kinds of stuff, but punk rock, you name it, the gamut. But, that's kind of how I am, though. I'm open to all different kinds of concepts, but I didn't have a lot of direction with it. But when I joined Freemasonry, I found that direction. And now I'm able to converse with other brothers like yourself. And yes, we were 80s kids. Yes. Oh my God, that's a good time to be alive. It was a good time. I feel sorry for all you other guys. But anyways, we were into a lot of things and learned a lot, sometimes the hard way, sometimes just in conversation. But now I'm able to funnel it into real concepts that make sense after going through the degrees and then also expounding further with some of the stuff like morals and dogma and bridge to light. There's that new book with or it's not a new book, it's The Brain Science of Freemasonry, and the one that Brad and Chris just recently talked about on their show, which Cody, by the way, if you hadn't heard Brad Kohanke and Chris Williams have a new show called The Masonic Shelf, and they're summarizing books on their show. So if you get a chance, go out there and check them out and give them some support, show them some love.
They also do a book study on third Monday every month.
Oh yeah, we've been doing that for a long time. That's part of that one that we're doing. That's part of the Scottish Rite. That's part of the Scottish Rite CME, and now it's called the Phoenix Academy. And yes, it's open to all Master Masons that are interested. We study these books, and then we go over it and we talk about these concepts. The third Monday of every month. Right now, we're still doing the secret teachings of all ages. But yeah,
I would like to do that one day. That's a good, but that has to take a really long time to get through, though. How long y'all been working on that?
It's been a long time. We've been working. It's a chapter at a time, because
some of those chapters I know how you do it one time.
I know, right? And that's the thing, is that it's so, some of these thoughts are so deep. It really takes a lot of hashing through to get through these concepts. It's but that's Freemasonry, and being able to sit around with a few guys, and usually there's 10 to 15 brothers at least that are on to do this book study.
And it's not one of those books with like the size 15 font either. Like it's not even size 12. I think it's like a size 10. It's like small font.
Bitty.
Really
yes.
Good. But it is.
Yeah, Manly P. Hall is probably the only Mason. Well, him, Mackey, and Pike, they're the only Masons that could talk probably as much as me. And I've listened to Manly P. Hall's talks, and yeah, it's the secret teachings of all ages
by Manly P. Hall. Yep.
Manly P. Hall. That's a good one. It really is. It goes through so many different.
I've got the
awesome
paperback.
topics.
I think Dennis has the actual. Don't you have the hardcover?
Mm-hmm.
Mine's just paperback. But
yeah, I usually get the hardcover on most stuff.
Yeah.
The big ones like that, I really do, because I want to hold on to it for a while.
But it has some really nice, like the illustrations are color. They're real nice. I can't really tell on here because of the way the green screen is, but I mean, they got some beautiful illustrations. It's a nice book.
Yeah.
And it covers a lot of stuff. Like it's like an esoteric cookbook. Like anything you want, it's in here. Atlantis, Thoth, Tarot.
Yes. It's all you want to talk about? Yes. And some of the stuff he's a little bit out there on, but but most of the stuff he's really right on the mark with. But you also have to remember the era that he's writing this stuff in was in, the 1918 era.
Sources, who needs those things?
Yeah, that was a great time to be a Mason, man.
It was a great time to be a writer because you could just pull whatever.
Yes, I want to be a writer like that. I'm just going to do
credit
that
anybody for anything.
Yeah, I'll just, talk about AI. I mean, that was the original AI. They just took it out of a book and nobody gave credit. We just, took it all and threw it all together, and that was a book. But it was all pretty common knowledge stuff at that time, and it was all put together for our benefit now.
People that read stuff like that in general, you either read a lot or you didn't really read at all. And so you're right. Like if you're reading something and they're referring to something,
you had to seek it out.
If they're referring to something from another book, you probably have read it before. So you already know, okay, that's from Plato, or that's from, Manly P. Hall, or that's from Pike, and you just know because you read all those books.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that.
Exactly.
And there weren't as many books.
Yes.
So if you're interested in like esoteric concepts, there's probably like a handful of books that were commonly available. So you probably read them all. And every time a new one came out, you grabbed it. So you already knew what they were referring to. Now there's like thousands of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you were digging sources for that information, it was getting pretty close to the real source back then.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't as popular, writings weren't as popular back then.
For sure. So what else is on everybody's mind? You're a quiet lot tonight.
I know. I feel it's like an eerie feeling.
Mm-hmm. Seems like you're tired or something.
We have a funeral tomorrow. My father-in-law has passed away, and we've got a funeral tomorrow in our household. And it's been a time of reflection for me. And I guess that's where a lot of my frustration comes from, is frustrated with working so hard and seeing very little progress on some fronts. We can try as much as we want, and unless people want to help themselves, it's.
Are you talking about from a Masonic perspective or just in general with life?
Yeah. You know, when I reflect Masonically. That's when, you know, in life things are good. In Masonic life, we're in a position now where we're having to make tough decisions in our fraternity, and so it's frustrating as you see the steady bad decisions happening that are affecting us long term, and nobody's trying to make a change. They're just wanting to keep doing the same thing, thinking that it's going to pick up.
I think like an analogy, it's like if you're a police officer or an EMT, like on an ambulance or something, you go to whatever your call you're at, and you do the best you can to help somebody. And to a point, people can only help themselves, right? So if you're like an EMT and you go to a diabetic call, and I mean you help them, but obviously, and I was trained to be an EMT for a long time ago, and I went on a lot of diabetic calls, right? And most of the time, they're not eating right. They should have ate something with sugar, or they shouldn't have ate something with sugar. And to an extent, you can't help that, but to extent, a lot of it's your diet and how you live and things like that. My point is, like, you can help someone in the moment, but ultimately they have to be able to help themselves. You might go to like a domestic call as a police officer. You can help in the moment, but ultimately, like if you have to make that decision in your own life, how can we avoid this in the future? And the reason I say all this is just like what you're talking about. Like we can teach all day, and the fact is, you can go to a struggling lodge, a dying lodge, a zombie lodge, and none of those people are watching this show. None of those people have read any of the books that we talk about, or that are on the Masonic shelf or on our own personal shelves. They're not doing anything to help themselves. And there's only so much you can do, right? You can lead a horse to water. You can force its head under the water, but you can't make it drink. And we are making the impact where we can, which is people that are brothers that actually want to learn and to grow and to fix their lodge, but they don't know where to start or how to do it. And that's where we're making the difference. No book, no podcast can reverse the course of Freemasonry that it's on, which I think is heading towards refinement and Renaissance. But from outside looking in, you're seeing less buildings, less members, and it looks from the outside looking in like a dying organization. And in some communities, it is a dying organization. But I think overall, at a macro scale, it's getting ready to start thriving again. But what we're building is those lighthouse lodges. What we're building is those lodges that actually have members that want to learn, want to grow, want to reflect and improve. And so it is discouraging when you see these lodges that are having to merge, or you go visit a lodge and the ceiling's literally falling in, and it's been that way for years. Very discouraging. But you also have to look around and say, these people are doing nothing to help themselves. Nothing.
Right.
They're doing nothing to help their lodge. They think helping their lodge is fundraising it into prosperity, which you cannot do. Well, I mean, you can do that, but you're not a Masonic lodge at that point. Right?
Yeah, it's like a situation of, a lodge with with no air conditioning, thinking that they're going to fundraise until they have air conditioning, even though they have enough money in the bank to get the air conditioner fixed. But that's for emergencies. Not that the comfort of the membership, having an enjoyable experience, isn't an emergency, right? Making people so uncomfortable they don't want to show up, that's not an emergency. We're going to try and fundraise this thing to fix the problem, but it hadn't been fixed for 5 years. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. So why are we trying to do the same thing with it's like an addiction, right? It's like all the sayings that you hear with Alcoholics Anonymous and stuff like that, where somebody puts their hand over a flame and then they just keep putting their hand over the flame thinking they're going to get a different result when they do it. It's just not.
This fundraiser will be different.
Yeah,
I really don't know what's more
time it's
frustrating. A lodge in a dire situation with no funds to fix it, or a lodge in a dire situation with funds to fix it, but they just don't.
Exactly.
What's more frustrating? I think, honestly, if you have the ability to change something and you don't, I think that's more frustrating. But that's just me.
Yeah, another one that's funny, or it's not funny, it's sad, is when the lodges, have only plural members there, or mainly plural members that are supporting the lodge, and you think the lodge should be there. That doesn't make sense to me. I was talking to another brother here this past weekend at a lodge, and he was saying, man, a few of us joined this lodge trying to help, and we've been I told them myself that I was only going to be here for 1 year to try and help, and then I'm out. And if y'all can't gather up members to come in and get this done, then it's just gonna. I said, man, you want to fix this problem? If you're an officer right now, you get all the officers together and send out the email. We are going to vote to merge the lodge, and all your members are going to show up, and they're going to complain, and they're going to gripe, and they're going to do this. And then at that time, what you do is you tell them all, we're going to bring this up at every meeting. And the first meeting you're not here, it's going to be passed, and we're going to shut this lodge down. So you can either show up and do your job and take care of your lodge, perform the duty that you said that you were going to do, or you can stay at home and let us do what we need to do and stop wasting everybody's resources. Yeah. And that was what I said. Now, who knows how it's going to play out? I don't know if they're gonna try that or not. But you never know. But that was the discussion that I had just this past weekend with a brother who's going in to try and save another lodge. And there are several of them that have been trying to save these lodges in this one district. And I told him, I said, look, man, you're wasting your human resources, you're wasting your financial resources, you're wasting everybody's time. Why are we trying to do this to keep the doors open, especially when there's so many lodges within a close proximity? Why are we doing this?
I think that ties in really well to why we advocate. At least I advocate real often for multi-year terms, like commercial master or even grand master or something like that, because you can't change an organization in a year or even 2 years. And so, if you want to go and try and save a lodge, that's a longer commitment than a year, or 2 years, or even 3 years, because if you go and say you join a lodge and they make you martial master and you implement all these new ideas, it might even look good by the time your year's up. When you leave, if you're not there, if you're not continuing what you were doing, and the lodge culture has not changed, then it's all just going to drop immediately. It'll be right back where it was. To take an organization and say, I'm going to it's almost I know it's coming from a good place to say you want to do that, but it's almost like an ego thing because I can fix it. No, you can't. One man can't. A lodge has to have a certain number of brothers. One man can't save the entire organization if the corpus of the lodge has a completely different mindset.
That's what I was talking to that same person, and I said, what I mean, I realize what you're doing here, and I know you're trying your best, but you realize that that's going to happen. That everybody's going to recognize you for what you're doing, and they're going to let you do it. They're going to continue to let you do it, and they're going to praise you for doing it. But are they going to jump in on the bandwagon and help you do it? Now that's a whole nother story, and that's the assessment that you probably need to take pretty quick once you start doing this. What are you reading, Justin?
Michael Superstar Gateway Explorer First Class and a bunch of random. I swear, like I'm watching the chat and then I flip over to look at something else, and then once I do that, that's when these people come out of the woodwork. So sorry, Michael Superstar Gateway First Class Explorer, you are out of here. Peace out.
What is going on? Come on, give us.
Oh, you want to? Okay. Oh.
Give us something to talk about.
It's not. Okay, Dennis. let me reopen some of these things.
Hang on, Justin. Before Justin starts talking about that, Dennis, did we have a conversation this weekend that I don't remember?
No, this was somewhere else. This was not you.
Okay, because your thoughts are about exactly mine for the lodge I'm in right now. It's like, and I'm gonna have those serious conversations come our next stated meeting. Going, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, this also ties into the importance of having, and I don't say this just because it's like in your vanguard. You need to have a mission statement. You need to have a vision, and that means getting your lodge together and saying, "This is what are we about," and everybody's on the same page, and that's what you're doing. And when you're having your meetings, if it's not aligned with what we said we're working on, it's not in the agenda, and we're not talking about it.
And I had a different opinion of this until last week sometime when I talked to one of the brothers there that finally told me that the only two brothers that actually live in the town have decided they're not going to give up their membership. They're just not coming to the lodge anymore. And it's like, you're the only two that live in this town. Everyone else is a plural member that has to drive anywhere from 15 to an hour to get to lodge to show up and basically do nothing.
If the community itself is not capable or interested in supporting the lodge, well,
that's one of the things that I see a lot in the rural areas. And the problem is they say, well, if we don't have representation in these towns, we're going to lose Freemasonry. Well, we're not really. The reality is that if somebody wants Freemasonry, they're going to join. Mm-hmm. If somebody's interested, they're going to join. They're going to find a way to join. I mean, I drive to San Antonio regularly. I drive to Corpus regularly. Hell, I drive all over the state regularly. But I definitely do those different directions once a month. I'm doing those directions once a month. Well, and it's several times every month. So if somebody wants it, they're going to join. What people are forgetting is that back when they opened these lodges every 30 minutes from each other, it's because everybody was in horse and buggy. Mm-hmm. And we are no longer in a horse and buggy scenario. And if you can't drive down a country road at 75 miles an hour and get to lodge in 25 minutes, that's what our speed limits are here. You guys in the big
highways.
Yeah.
Okay, not the country.
I'm talking about two-lane. I'm talking about 2-lane highways.
I mean, I rode with Dennis before. He would do that on a 1-lane road.
County roads are 75 miles an hour in our area, or they're 70 miles an hour. I go 75.
You rebel.
County roads are 70 miles an hour in our area. And if you can't drive with no traffic from town to town in 30 minutes or an hour, so you drive an hour, it only takes 40 minutes. If you can't do that, then you don't really want it that bad.
I agree.
I mean, that's just really not that hard to do, in my opinion.
I mean, if you're a Mason and you want to join Scottish Rite, there's a handful of places you can go.
Exactly
it's not
right.
in every town. And
That's
to your point, a lot of lodges, if you look at your old minutes, for example, Hillsboro, a little south of me, they have the charters from several local lodges, and you're reading the charters like, where is this lodge even at? But then you look on Google Maps, and there's a cemetery named after that, and so that means there used to be a town there with that name. And so you're right, and really, I think it's like historically every 7 miles there was a community, because that's how far a horse could go before it needed to stop for rest and water. And so there used to be communities everywhere, and they all had a Masonic lodge. And as roads got better and we got away from horses and with the cars, they were irrelevant communities now. I hate to say it, but I mean it's callous, but it's what happened. The communities kind of integrated with the larger community nearby, and the lodges did the same thing. And I think honestly, for a lot of districts, we'd be better served having one or maybe two lodges that are nice and all the resources are pulled together. And if you want to join, you go there. And to Dennis's point, most districts, maybe not Dallas or something like with all the traffic, but most like rural districts especially, yeah, you can get anywhere in your district within an hour at the most. And if you don't want to join Freemasonry enough to drive, I wouldn't even think an hour like a lot of these places. Like I can go from Hill County, I can go from one end to the other in like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I think it's if that's too far for you to go to a lodge that is nice, has lots of resources, and let's be honest, all the brothers there are plural members of every lodge in the community in the district anyway. So it's not like you're losing anybody. They're just all going to the same place. So, yeah.
I have 4 lodges within 30 minutes of Goliad, Texas. 4. That's not including my lodge of Goliad Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be. I mean, that. In fact, every one of them. Well, I say, almost every one of them are struggling.
Yeah. And furthermore, if you just had, I don't know that dual memberships will ever.
If you got rid of all the plural memberships,
mm-hmm.
Oh, they would just be under in a couple of months.
Oh yeah. But then you can actually charge dues that are relevant, because they're not. If you just have one lodge in the district, or you got away with plural memberships, they're not paying 100 here, 100 there, 100 here, 100 there. You could just pull it all into one lodge, and it's reasonable.
But you know, on the flip side of that is, and that's the thing I'm kind of struggling with, is what value does this lodge bring to the community? You know, yeah, we give a scholarship, we give a scholarship. You know, we may give a community builder award. You know, and that's about it.
But does the community even care if you give them that reward?
Probably not.
Not really.
And
I mean, they really don't even know. Like, I mean, I've already got kind of an idea of what I'm gonna do for my community builder this year, and he's probably gonna be like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those. It's like, what value are we bringing to the community? You know, like, and I hate to toot my own horn about some of this stuff, but here in Goliad, you know, I've worked really hard to get us out in the community. And now the people in the community expect us to be there at Scare on the Square and the Back to School Bash. And I mean, heck, I still got people talking about our Eclipse burgers we did 2 years ago on market days. So it's like, you know, it's things like that the community remembers and starts talking about, versus, you know, some of these lodges, they're just like, oh, well, I didn't even know y'all were here. So that's kind of what I'm struggling with, is what value does this lodge really bring to the community that we need to continue what we're doing?
Well, community builder is nice if you have someone in the community that's actually like not a Mason and actually doing great things for it. I think there's value in that. I think we should recognize people like that. Scholarships, and I've said this for a long time, I mean, if your lodge wants to do scholarships, fine. But in the big scheme of things, if I'm going to like a $30,000 semester college, your $1,000 scholarship isn't really, it's a drop in the bucket, or 2,000 or whatever. It's still a drop in the bucket in the big scheme of things. The lodge is giving money that it really doesn't have for publicity that won't get it members or anything. So I've never really seen the benefit, and you see it also like with the application process, because many lodges, they'll send the applications for their scholarships to the counselor, and you'll get like 3 applications. Well, why is that? Well, because all the big money applications are what are getting used for. That's what people are doing. So that's just my thought. But I think as far as value in the community, here's the thing: if no one in a lodge lives in that community, it's hard to provide value, because I believe that the value is provided by what we do outside the lodges as individuals.
I agree.
Volunteering for like.
I don't think it's the lodge's responsibility to do the projects. I think it's the individual's responsibility to do the projects. Cody's got his hand up. I'd like to hear what he's got.
I would love to hear what you have, Cody.
I just want to sharpen your point about the scholarships a little bit, Justin. It's not the lodge giving out money that it doesn't have. It's giving out scholarship money from things that the community has given it money to do. The communities are funding our fundraisers.
Absolutely.
It's not our generosity as a lodge that's funding those things, right? We go out and we ask for other people's money to then do these scholarships. So I agree.
It's a redistribution of wealth, and
that's exactly what it is. Thank you.
Here's a picture of what we did.
I got some nastier ways to say it, but I'll just leave it at what y'all did it in a much more classy manner.
I would just say that a lot of lodges. Oh, sorry, Cody. Go ahead. What are you saying?
No, that's it. You have said it all right there. I just wanted to make sure that we were crystal clear. If this weren't going out into a more public forum, then like Dennis said, I have some other a little bit nastier ways that I would probably word that.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll keep it civil.
Yeah. Yeah, and to that point, I would say like a lot of lodges do it as a way to let's be honest. They want to get seen in the community to hopefully get members. $1,000, $2,000 to get seen in the community, and maybe every few years you get a petition from it, is not a very cost effective. What's the term for that? Not a very cost effective. I don't know the term, but it's not a good way to attract members if that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Another thing that I've seen is, what's it called? Oh, the benevolence fund. So in the Scottish Rite, we have a common practice of, at the end of every meeting, we give what we're used to spending at least what we're used to spending in one day is what's requested. You know, a lot of people throw in couple dollars, some of the older guys that don't ever leave or their house or whatever. But some guys that go out that eat lunch every day realize that, yeah, that's $15, man, $20 easy every day. So they throw in $20 in the hat. Well, and that's the benevolence fund for the Valley, right? And the Valley uses that money for the members that need help. That's what it's for funeral services or helping the widows or orphans of a fallen brother that's a member of the Valley. What's interesting is we have some lodges these days that are, building up their benevolence fund with, fundraisers and stuff from community. So they're not only asking the community to help them pay for scholarships, but they're building up this big fund in the bank, making it look like they've got all this money that has been put in there by the community to pay for the benevolence of a fallen brother or widow or orphan or something. Some of these lodges are just doing some of the craziest things that I would never imagine doing that on my own. I just couldn't fathom doing that. I couldn't live with myself, doing that kind of thing. And what's bad is that I was one of the first ones to start a fundraiser in one of my lodges. Mm-hmm. And now I realize the error of my ways, and there's just no way in hell I would ever promote it in any other lodge.
I
In
would.
fact, with my KSA, I've asked the guys, and this is what's crazy. Listen to this. In the KSA, I've asked my guys, look, instead of going out and asking people for money so that we can give it to the Dyslexia Foundation, we're going to the School for Dyslexia. We're going to just within our own membership give $5 a month, and then at the end of the year we'll have this big chunk of money that we can donate to the Dyslexia Foundation. You know how much I've got so far,
What's that? Nothing.
including my donations, $150.
Mm.
And that's including my donations. So, and I paid for the year and then some.
So when are we all going to start a new lodge? Masonic Improvement Lodge, traditional observance.
Dude, you think they're going to give us a charter? No.
Well, you tell them you're going to start a traditional observance lodge. You might as well just not even try. You throw those words around.
Right.
But no, it is a interesting. It'd be a nice experiment.
That would be a fun experiment to try. The only problem is, and what I would want to do is make it to where it's like a traveling lodge, a lot like the Lodge of Research or Tranquility Lodge. They get to travel around, but they're sponsored by the Grand Lodge for the most part, whereas we wouldn't be. And so they don't allow that. You have to have a physical address for your charter. And so it's kind of tough to have a lodge like that.
I know Texas is a big state, and like we're all from all over the state, right? But I would like the idea personally of a physical location, and the reason for that is if we had a traveling, we're just talking hypotheticals now, right? But if we have a traveling lodge and we applied everything we talk about to it, and it's wildly successful, people will say, well, that's because you don't have a physical building to hold you back.
Well, I don't want a physical building to hold me back.
I don't think it would hold us back if we're being intentional.
But I don't want a building. I'm done with that, man. I don't need that. That's a trophy. I don't need that. I don't need that real estate.
I think a lodge needs to have a beautiful edifice.
I'll rent one from somewhere else. I'd rather rent a pub than have a building. You want to buy a building? If you want to buy a building, let's buy a downtown building somewhere with a pub underneath.
I mean, you kind of had me at pub anyway, but yeah, that definitely sounds good. Once you start seeing meeting at pub, it's like, well, that didn't sound terrible.
Exactly. Right.
But now if you just had above the pub, oh yeah, man, spot on.
Yeah, doesn't that make it more traditional anyway? Going back to the European roots.
Exactly. That's my thought is let's get back to basics and see where it goes. Let's see if the lodge would be able to build itself up to where, and sure, let's say Waco, Texas is the lodge, and let's find the right pub to do it in Waco, Texas, or do it in Paparillo's pizza place and do it in one of the secret doors. Go into one of the back rooms that the secret doors go to. He's got some cool secret doors in his place. If you've never been to Paparillo's in Waco, you gotta go. There's secret doors that go to the gaming area.
And then 200 years from now, future Masons will talk about how the Masonic Renaissance started in a secret meeting room in a pizza parlor.
Yes. Yes.
I'm down.
And we know it was sinister because it began with Paparillo's.
There's a comment real quick, not to sidetrack, but it's Don Judd says, how do I join if I live in a place with no one near me? I live over in Washington. I would say
Washington State?
WA. So yeah, Washington State.
Well, there's going to be somewhere within an hour of you. I can assure you. If
I'd say hop on Google Maps.
Yeah. Give me your here, I'll do it this way. I'll look on Amity real quick. Where's what's your city?
Yeah, where about in Washington are you? You don't have to tell us like specifically your address, but like what community
city?
are you
That's
in?
I do want to know the city so I can tell you where the closest is going to be.
We'll hook you up.
We'll get you started anyways.
Moses Lake is the town. Moses.
Okay. Let me work on that.
Okay. I will say, while he's looking that up, when you find some lodges, find out when they meet. Try to find like one or two nearby that you'd be willing to travel to. Are you done? Did you find it already?
I'm searching now.
Oh, okay. But find one or two nearby that you would be potentially interested in traveling to on a regular basis. Find out when they meet. Reach out to them and ask if there'd be a good time you can come by and introduce yourself.
Moses Lake Lodge, number 174.
There you go.
In Moses Lake, Texas. I mean, Moses Lake, Washington.
So, Moses Lake, what, 174?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
It's on the east side of the lake. Looks like it's towards the downtown area.
There you go, man. Yeah,
we're on East Hill.
Look them up
So
on Facebook.
I would go online and look on Facebook and look for Moses Lake Lodge. That's the number, Moses Lake 174, and look on the website or.
Do you have to part the water to get there?
You guys.
Dennis just walks on it. What are you talking
with
about?
Members
with
like you. That's right. That's right. Not everybody has to work for it.
Okay. But yeah, find out the contact information, be it Facebook or their website. Reach out to them, express your interest, and just go visit. And keep in mind, you're kind of shopping at this point. Find a lodge that you feel comfortable at. Don't just join the first one because it's closest to you. Find one that you're comfortable with and that matches what you're looking for. And just draw like a big circle where you'd be willing to travel and find the lodges in there. What are you saying?
Yeah. Now, granted, the other closest one is going to be down in Othello. Will be one of them. That could be cool.
I think I've been to Othello.
There's a few of them around your area, kind of within 45 minutes to an hour of where you are. But yeah, you got that one. Yeah, we have one brother here on our show that's actually looked it up. They have a Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, go check them out. And the best way to do it is to contact them however they say to on the Facebook page, and then go from there and let them get to know you. You get to know them. Make sure it's going to be a good fit. And
best of luck.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Let us know how it works out.
See, but that's what I was talking about earlier, Dennis. Like sometimes it feels like you're rolling a boulder uphill, but then you get an opportunity to help somebody, right? And I mean, if you just when you go to Grand Lodge, when you go to Waco,
week right there.
When you go to Waco, every time someone will come up to you or me or both of us and to just say thank you for what you do, right? I got back at the fraternity, or I joined because of you, and that's what it's for. We're working to help the fraternity at a macro scale, but I think sometimes we're so focused at the big picture that we don't realize we're making a difference at the small level, and that's what builds the macro.
Well, that's true. I mean, if we help one guy, one brother, Justin and I kind of did this because we felt like we were on an island, and Justin started a long time ago, but I felt like the same thing, and he invited me on the show and just took off from there. And we've always said that if you feel like you're on an island, you're in the right place, because that's how everybody feels that gets on this show, is that, there's things that we would like to see change or would like ideas on how to help in different ways that may be beneficial to Freemasonry and its members. And so hopefully it all it's all for the better.
Agreed. All right. Well, it's 10:20. We'll start doing our final thoughts because it'll be 10:45 by the time we're finished. I don't know what that glare is supposed to mean.
By which one of us? Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
You know what it means, sir.
Well, so Jeff, Brad, Josh, Cody, Tom, y'all got any thoughts you want to share as we wrap up? Don't be shy.
I'll go.
Oh, go ahead.
Go
Yeah, I
on,
was gonna
go
s-
on, Jeff. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I want to hear what Jeff has to say.
Yeah, go,
Oh,
Jeff.
Yeah,
So I'll
Brad,
say,
we hear you all the time.
I appreciate what you guys do. You improved my masonry. I like to say that I'm so thankful. I'm in a good lodge that's growing. It's got a bunch of great brothers. We have initiations and passings and raisings every month. Our new worship master just started meals every month and education and really trying to provide that value that
Nice.
Masons want. And that's everyone's saying agree. That's how you grow your lodge. You provide value to your members.
Absolutely.
Reaching out to community is a side thing you do, but you got to provide value to your members, and that's what we're trying to do. So we have 20, 30 or more brothers every month show up. And I mean, even next month we're dark, but we have an initiation and 2 raisings. So it's just fun to be a part of a good lodge
Oh,
that's
definitely.
doing things right and putting into
That sounds
practice
like it.
putting into practice what you're all talking about.
That's awesome.
Love it, man.
Man,
Are you in?
that's encouraging.
Are
That
you
is
in Nebraska or Wisconsin?
encouraging. What?
Me,
Yeah, Jeff.
Kansas.
Kansas.
What are
okay.
you? What are you thinking?
I knew it was somewhere.
Where the hell are you, man?
I've been a Mason for 1 year now.
I
And
know.
I'm
You've
already
been
a member of. I'm a member of 2 affinity lodges, the Shrine, and I just now did all my York Rite degrees. So
I was
Well, and
just
you went
curious
through
'cause-
Masonry with us. And,
I don't think I
and
remember
here
exactly
he
what
is asking
state.
you where you're. Oh
I
my
remember.
god!
Well, the reason I asked because I came through Wisconsin, Nebraska, like all these middle states, and
You can't recover from this.
I would no.
Justin.
I was just gonna say.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, it's a pretty part of the country. I had never been there before. Excuse me, Dennis.
That's awesome, man. If we had lodges that, had 20 and 30 people showing up, I remember when I was master of Goliad, we had membership showing up like that. That was a good time. That was a strong time, and it wasn't just in my year. It was a couple of years before, and then a couple of years after. We were still going strong, and I got to tell you, those are the good times. It feels good being a part of it. You have other people sharing the load with you. It's and that's the best feeling of it all is when you notice all these people that are interested in doing this thing like you are. That's awesome.
Absolutely, and I'm glad to hear y'all doing all those wonderful things too. That sounds
Yeah,
really
if you ever need any education stuff and you want it, just give me a holler. I'll send it up to you.
Do you
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Do you know? Off the top of your head, round about how many members your lodge has, like dues paying members?
A couple hundred.
A couple hundred. That's good. 20, 30, that's nice. Brad, Josh, anyone else?
Yeah, I'll just go quick. I'm talking a lot about a lot of things, from being certificate holder to bringing quality education and just trying to do the right thing through the lodge, and as far as I'm concerned, I did a lot this year for my lodge. I worked really hard, and it took me a lot of planning to do that, and a lot of travel, meeting people, talking to you guys and listening. And from the things that I did may not have helped per se Royce City Lodge very much. But it sparked excitement all around in my district, and I got to meet a lot of really cool people. And in fact, people all over the state are like finding me on Facebook and messaging me, and they're giving me their number and asking me to call them and talk to them about what I've been doing over here, which is neat. And I can only say that I've learned all that stuff from y'all, and just about what to do as a leader in a lodge. I learned a lot in the Oxford leadership training. I went to all of them. I can't get my lodge members excited about going to that or anything. So, like I said, I'm not really sure what I did this year will help Royce City Lodge very much. It'll get them down the road the next few years financially. When that kind of fizzles out, I'm not sure it would have helped much, you know what I mean? But I love the guys I've been lodged with. They're all great people. And I really love Masonry, and I'm still really excited about it. I'm going to be a chaplain this year at Royce City, and my other lodge that I'm a member of, which is in the next district over, I'm going to be senior deacon for the lead chief, who's the worshipful master. So that'll be I think it'll be a good year there too. So anyway, that's all I got, and appreciate you guys listening to me and letting me listen.
Well, we appreciate you being here. And they say success leaves clues. And so you're dropping clues, man. You're doing the right things. Proud of you.
And Justin knows clues. He watches Blue Clues all the time.
Yeah, Blue's Clues.
No,
Man,
I just
I
kind of want
appreciate
to
that.
reiterate what Brad said. I mean, listening to you guys kind of helped me a little bit here on my year and my years coming up for Worshipful Master. So I appreciate all the information we get, and Brad did a bang up job last year with everything he was doing. So we can learn.
You did too, Josh. You did too.
Yes, sir, you did too. I got to see it firsthand when I got to visit.
It was funny. Me and my wife had a conversation earlier today, and she's fixing. For those who don't know, she's fixing to step into the actual principal role.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Is she an AP right now?
Do what?
Is she an AP right now?
Yeah, she's an AP and she's moved up to principal.
Nice.
So she was sitting there today. She's like, I'm just so nervous. I don't know. I said, what are you talking about? She's like, well, I just don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, I asked her, he said, can you do this? Yeah. Can you do that? Yeah. I said, well, just walk in there like a boss. She says, kind of like you do. That's what she said. She said, kind of like you do. I'm like, yeah, but what you don't see is my heart pounding out of my chest and my nervousness every time I have to sit in that chair where I have 80 people and 20 of them are the grand line and having to open and close lodge or have to sit up and talk to people in front of everybody, and it's just like, you'd be okay. So it's
fake it till you make it.
Feeling what you get up there, but yeah, I mean, like I said, from Brad, like Brad said, we learned a lot from you guys and everything. So we appreciate everything you guys bring to our Masonry.
I love that. To be clear, and this isn't part of my final thought, but I learn a lot from y'all too, and
me too.
And I gain just as much, if not more, than I mean. So when I say I appreciate y'all, it's not just me saying it. I mean, I learn a lot from working with you guys. So I appreciate
y'all don't know it, but when I'm not on the show, I'm bragging about you guys because I'm proud of our membership here.
Absolutely.
I really am. And that's a fact. Every one of you guys, I brag on y'all. Y'all just don't know it.
Cody, Tom, y'all got any thoughts? Okay. Well, you there?
Actually, I did have one thought. It was on what Brad was talking about earlier with the Ashlar, and I think I've talked to Justin a couple times about that, trying to get that started in one of our lodges that we belong to. But it was just that it's all on this education thing that I'm into. That most of these guys, they are coming thinking like I came in. My expectation was that I would be learning more than questions and answers. And like even when I'm teaching some of these guys, I tell them, I said, every word we say, everything that we do, there's a reason behind it. And then if you can't really tell them what the reason is, it's kind of hard for them to buy into it. But it's like you guys have said many times on this podcast that if there is no value in it, people are eventually going to say, okay, why am I paying this?
Mhm.
I'm not getting anything out of it. I might as well sit at home on a Monday night. I'm already tired from getting home from work. Why am I going to go up there? A business meeting doesn't thrill anybody to leave their home to do that. So it's but kind of like with Brad said, well, he feels like it didn't do too much good because the next guys coming in are going to change it, and that's things that me and Justin have talked about with the culture change. It has to be little steps. It's kind of like a little goat going up the mountain. You don't realize how far he's gotten because he's taken such little steps, but then before you know it, he's at the top of the mountain. And once you get maybe one or two people this year buying into it, and then they're continuing that, and then a couple more people they bring in, they're buying into it, and before you know it, the old guard that was saying, well, we don't do it this way, it's not the way it's always been done, all of a sudden those voices are pretty quiet, and you don't hear it and anymore. And I think that's the only thing that's going to advance masonry, because I've kind of been researching back into the way things were done years ago, and it seems like the generations up to where the height of our membership was, there was a lot more education than there is now. It's almost like it's been watered down to where people are just hanging out. That's just my thought on it. And it's like I said, I started doing a few of the education talks, and they didn't seem like they to me, it did not seem like it went over that well. But the more that I do them, the more I'll have people come up to me and say something about it, which, so it's like you're kind of chipping away at that wall to break the hole open to where people are seeing it. And I've even talked to other lodges where, they're like, oh, that sounds great. We don't have anybody that does that. So it's like I said, it's just a little steps that eventually it's because a lot of times it's hard to, it's even like when you have kids, and you haven't seen relatives for a while, and they're like, oh my God, have they gotten big? And it's like, well, I didn't notice. Well, that's because you're there all the time. You see them every day, so they don't seem like they got that big. But people on the outside may eventually notice it, because I found out about this whole podcast thing by accident, because I didn't even know Justin had a podcast until I heard him on another one. And I said, man, I didn't even know you did a podcast. I was like, that is cool. But I've been listening to y'all since probably 2 months after I got initiated. So there is a ton of information that I've gotten from you guys and other people, and I'm kind of blessed that I have Justin just a couple towns away. That anytime I have a question, I can call him up. So it makes it a little easier.
Mhm.
But it's and a lot of the stuff, like I've seen everything that Brad's been doing, which to me is amazing. Because I belong to a few lodges, and I see a lot of it where there's really, it almost seems like the new master coming in is just kind of like a guy that's on year 29 or 30 and get ready to retire.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to keep it sliding just enough that they don't get in trouble. You don't lose that charter, and they just want to go out the door without really ruffling any feathers. And unfortunately, I kind of sense that I ruffle feathers from time to time. Where they're like, "Oh, we don't do that."
You're in the right place.
This is
We
our
all
country.
we all
This
ruffle
is our
feathers in
country
here.
lodge. We're just good old boys. We don't do anything like that. Yeah, and I mean, I know Dennis has a thing he hates hearing the word fraternity. The thing I hate hearing is we're just a simple country lodge.
Yes, I hate that one too.
And
I hate that
it's
one
like,
too.
and to me, I feel, well, if you take this seriously enough, it's almost like our lodge in that town. It can be a country lodge, but it should almost be to where the town thinks of it. Okay, that's a higher class of guys that are in that lodge, and that's why I think it should be. It's not being arrogant. I think we kind of talked about that on the Wednesday Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
It's not being arrogant. It's just there's a respect from the general public about those guys. And I think we should kind of embrace that. And it was kind of like when I get that pushback, I kind of feel bad about it for a little while until I take a step back, and it's like, okay, well, I'll just keep that in the back of my head. That way, when I get to the east, then at that point, then we can start making some of the changes, and hopefully, there's enough people that follow that agree with it. But that's just my 2 cents on that.
I would say, I appreciate everything you said, but I would say, we've talked about this before, but I think it was before you came along. If you have good ideas, don't stop sharing them, because you often see someone they think they have great ideas and they'll wait till they're in the east to implement them. But if you believe they'll be beneficial to the lodge now, go ahead and keep pushing, because the faster it's implemented, the faster it can start benefiting the lodge. And you may feel pushback, but every new idea is going to get some pushback. You just keep pushing back against that pushback, because you're a member of this lodge. You have a right to be heard. You have a right to you were promised something before you got your petition, right? And you have a right as a Mason to expect that what you were promised, right? You have a right to not be bait and switched. So if you were told that the lodge offers something, then you have a right. I wouldn't say demand, because you don't want to be abrasive, but you have a right to expect it. And if it's not provided, fight for it. Fight to do it yourself, if nothing else, right? And there's a way. I say fight. There's a way to do it without being abrasive or anything. But if a lodge,
you don't want to take it too far, like I have done.
Dennis would know.
I've had to reel it back some. So
Dennis has really reeled it back a lot the last few years.
Well, a lot of times when I have an idea, in particular because me and Justin belong to the same couple lodges, I'll usually ask him about it before I do it. So then I kind of get that insight, because when you're a new Mason, you don't want to be overstepping boundaries and stepping on toes. So you don't want to burn a bridge that you don't need to burn. Mm-hmm. It's easier
for sure
to get things done with honey than with vinegar. So
it's true.
Yeah, I'll burn the ones that I have to, but I try not to. Yeah. I try not to in most cases, but if it's just, there comes a time you just got to cut bait.
Or sometimes you'll burn a bridge.
If we want to talk good old boy country terms, we just cut bait. That's what we do. What?
But sometimes you'll think you burned a bridge, or you cut bait, and you go to a meeting and you turn around and the guy's right there and he has no clue who you are.
Right.
Right. Half the time,
I know, that's
half the time
funny.
it's in our own head with what people think about us. So do what you know is right. Do what you know is best.
Let's stay on for a second after this meeting,
okay.
and talk privately.
Okay. But
I got something I got to share as well. But go ahead. Next,
Cody, did you have anything?
No, I have no thoughts, closing or otherwise.
Well, I want to say, Cody, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you like so much, And so it means a lot that you're involved in these conversations. But just in general, as a human and as a Mason, I really appreciate you. You are a fantastic brother, and I admire you and look up to you.
That's it. That's your whole.
I left them speechless.
What a kiss! What a
So much,
Talk
I
about
love
some
you,
honey.
Cody. I mean, so I'm
talk
not making
about
it
some
weird.
honey. No, I do. I love you. I love you too, Cody. I do. You know I do.
Yeah, man. I'll end with kind of some of the thoughts and what I'm putting into my paper right now. Albert Pike, and I'm not going to like give direct quotes, but in chapter 1, if even if you're not a Scotch Rite Mason, if you're a Master Mason, read the first 3 chapters, because it goes through EA, Fellowcraft, Masters. You can go into Esoterica and it goes into more depth, but I'm just working on Immortals of Dogma right now. And one of the first concepts introduced in chapter 1, because it's talking about the entered apprentice, is this concept of force and intellect. And force, I mean, exists in nature, like hurricanes and cyclones and volcanoes. These are all forces, but there's nothing directing them. There's nothing guiding them, so they're destructive. Or you have like this potential energy, like this something that could do great things, but it's just sitting there and it's never being unleashed from anything other than just what it could potentially do. And I'm applying this to the lodge itself, because the members of the lodge are that force. They're the force in the lodge. And without intellect, without direction, and this is also inspired by something Dennis, I can't remember, I think it might have been Albert Pike. He was talking about how intellect is like one of the most important qualities of a Mason. So if you have these Masons and there's no guiding force, there's no mission or vision for the lodge, and the leadership isn't directing them to do anything, the lodge will just do things just to do it. You'll have all these fish fries, and you'll have all these things that aren't really moving the bar in any direction, but it from the inside it feels good because it feels like they're doing things. Or it's destructive because you have all these factions that are forming in the lodge, and all this backbiting and all this just these politics that don't have any place in a Masonic lodge. So that's why it's so important that a lodge grow its members to be leaders and encourage these people. If you're an active leader or will one day be a leader of your lodge, you read books about leadership. Learn how to be a good leader. It's a skill, just like anything else. And some people, like, I'll never probably be able to play the guitar. It's a skill, but I just don't have the aptitude. And some people just don't have the aptitude. I'll never be a guitar player like Dennis. And some people just don't have the aptitude to be a leader. But you don't know until you try. And it's important to send these leaders to officer leadership training, or send yourself to our officer leadership training and go every year. It doesn't matter if you went once or if you went 3 times and went through all the courses. Still continue to grow, because the courses are growing and developing as well. And by doing these things, by having a well-educated and intellectual and experienced leadership base in your lodge, you can take that force, that raw force, and direct it to do something good. Direct it on par with the vision of that lodge. What is our goal here? Why are we here? Well, we are now moving in that direction. And so it's so important that we talk so much about. That's why we talk about road time and book time. Do the book time. It doesn't have to be a Masonic leadership book. There's great books on leadership out there. Jim Rohn. Well, who's that? Who's that one guy you always talk about? I can't remember his name all of a sudden. The one that you like a lot that does the inspirational talk, Dennis.
Oh shit! There's so many of them.
Oh, he's like the big one that you're a big fan of. I can't remember his name either. I had some of his books. But,
oh, you're talking about the salesman.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I totally.
Dang it.
Max or something, isn't it?
No.
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar. Yeah.
Yes.
Study.
He's so inspirational.
Sales and leadership, surprisingly, are very intertwined, because sales is all about kind of getting people to think the way you are thinking. So is leadership. And so find some books. Use these as a starting point, nothing else. And then there's great Masonic leadership books out there. If
Yeah,
you
start
don't-
with "See You at the Top." If you're gonna read one, that was probably his best work.
Zig Ziglar?
See You at the Top. Yes.
I don't have that one. I might get that one. Let me write that down real quick. And there's also, even if you don't have the books, right? I know for a fact, like Jim Rohn has lots of great talks on YouTube that you can watch him talk. I'm sure Zig Ziglar does as well.
Yeah.
Start somewhere. There's great Masonic books out there. If you don't know where to start, go to the Masonic bookshelf and read what they talk about, and just start buying the books they talk about and read it too.
They got some very good ones for just starting off.
Awesome.
They started a specific path, doing the observing the craft and then doing the brain science of Freemasonry. I mean, that path in itself, it shows you where they're going with their podcast, and I can't wait to see where it ends up.
And then go to officer leadership training. Whenever the opportunity comes, go to it. It's not cheap, but you know it's coming, so save up for it. And when it comes, if the lodge doesn't pay your way, which it should if you're an officer in lodge, but if it doesn't, get your own ticket. It is worth it. It is worth going to. If time permits, I wouldn't say if time permits, because
I paid for all of mine, and I made the time.
Yeah, you know what's coming, and so to that point, the lodge should provide value, but where does the value come from? It comes from its members providing value to one another. And if I don't grow as a person, how am I going to provide value? And if I don't expect myself, if I don't have high expectations of myself to grow, how can I demand the same of others around me? And so you end up with a lodge where everybody is stagnant because nobody's holding one another accountable to become a better person. No one's holding one another accountable to provide value. The change has to start with us. We have to be the ones that are willing to read that book, to write that presentation, regardless of how it's received. And Tom, I think your presentations were great. But we all have to start somewhere. We all have to do what we can. And then hopefully that will inspire others to do the same. But we can't ask other people. We can't expect other people to do the same. It's like if you have rules and regulations and your EAs are expected to give a talk on what they've learned. Well, that's fine and dandy, but if they attend lodge and no one else is giving presentations on anything, it's kind of awkward. It's kind of strange, right? That needs to be the culture of the lodge where there's some kind of education. And then they see what's expected. They know which is part of the culture of the lodge. So when it's their turn, they give their talk. Anyway, that's the gist of my thoughts tonight, because like I said, I've been working on this paper, and it's not really directed towards anything. It's more along the lines of what we've been talking about recently with nobility and the I don't know if y'all saw, but in the last public YouTube channel, just a picture of an altar, and it says duty is not optional. And because it's not, man. Duty is not optional. We took obligations on ourselves to fulfill certain duties. And when we were installed as officers, we were given charges with very specific duties. We accepted that. And as men, if we willingly accept that, that means we should be wholeheartedly in line with doing that. And it's no longer optional at that point. We have a duty, and it's not optional. So that's really what ties in all this, because we need to start elevating ourselves, because we have a duty to ourselves to improve ourselves and hold ourselves and one another accountable to do the same thing. That's all I got.
That's all. Are you sure?
Peace. Bye.
So there's a show that I really like on Netflix, and I've watched it a couple of times, and I'm in the middle of watching it again right now, and it's called The Witcher.
And I like that.
And so it's about magic, and they constantly talk about controlling the chaos. And that's exactly what Justin is talking about. That's what Pike was talking about, controlling the chaos. So, and that's also what I was talking about earlier when I was mentioning, even as a teen, I was thinking these thoughts already. that I just ran off one of our members. No, Josh, he probably just got tired and had to go to bed. But, you know, controlling the chaos. So when I was a teen, I was already having these thoughts and just contemplating life and love and where I fit in the picture of all this. And so I really, now, is it the reason I joined? In a way, because I wanted to figure out the mysticism of Freemasonry. But in reality, I didn't know that this was going to happen as far as shaping my chaos until after I joined and was 10 years in at least. Then I started realizing, you know, what I was really supposed to be doing within this. And I'm not saying that we practice magic in Freemasonry, but um, we do discuss different ritual that teaches us how to focus in on what's important. And if we're doing this thing right, then we learn how to focus in and alleviate the pressure of the outside world that distracts us from where our true purpose is in life. And I think that that's the most important thing that we could do for ourselves and for everyone around us, is to understand our true purpose. I think that that's what we also need to work on with our lodges. I think if more lodges understood what the true purpose was of what we do, it would be a lot easier to keep the membership that is interested in that purpose. And we would excel with that, I think, because our true purpose is developing and strengthening our soul, right? I mean, that's what this life is all about. I mean, we all know we're going to die, and so death is considered eternity. There'll be an eternity after the death of this life form here. So, what else do we have to do but to strengthen our soul? And it's done throughout those trials and tribulations that we go through. And do I get frustrated with what we do? Yes, I do. But have I gained some of the most profound understandings in life and love through Freemasonry? I absolutely have. And what Tom mentioned earlier, me hating the word fraternity, he's absolutely right. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that word, because that's not just what we're about. We are a brotherhood. It was always a brotherhood. It started in a brotherhood. From the very day we walked in the door, we were walking into a brotherhood. And not enough Masons realize what we were truly a part of. And if they understood the impact that that one thing has on our lives as we carry ourselves through our lives, then we would be 10 times better off than we are right now. Because basically, it's just like what they talk about in the Bible of clearing the shade, right? We wouldn't, people who weren't interested in developing their soul would be gone. People who weren't interested in developing themselves as human beings. And when I say developing your soul, that's what I'm talking about. It's developing yourself as a human being, because it's your intellect combined with your spirit that forms your soul. So if you're developing yourself as a human being, then you're developing your intellect and your spirit at the same time. That's what I'm talking about. I think that we get away from that sometimes. And fortunately, I do have you brothers here to rely on every week to reel me back in, because I get frustrated and angry. You know, things happen in a real way, and they happen to each and every one of us in a real way. And if it wasn't for this brotherhood, you brothers, I don't know, where I would be. I would still be lost in the chaos, because I would have all that potential and I wouldn't know what to do with it. But with, you know, the mentors that I have in life, and it doesn't matter if you're the oldest Mason or the newest Mason, you know, I believe that what we're doing is cyclical. So we're always the master and we're always the apprentice to someone. So whoever that human being is that comes to me that has developed certain skill sets that I should be developing, I need to take them on as a mentor. So it doesn't matter if you just walked in the door or if you've been there for 50 years. You're of value to me. And are we all going to be at the same place at the same time? No. You know what, like I said before, when I first came in, I was the first one to start the fundraising in one of my lodges. And well, actually it was me and somebody else, and we did it while we were driving home from Grand Lodge, I think. We talked about it and we decided to start that fundraising. And I'm a little bit ashamed of myself, but that's okay because I'm from a country lodge and I was just doing what the lodge wanted. I think that's why Josh was so successful this year, because he really embodied the culture of the lodge and did what the lodge expected of him. And then he added a couple more things on top of it, you know, cherries on top of his own to try and just decorate it just a little bit. But ultimately, he was successful because he did what the culture of the lodge is. Can't blame him for that. You know, as he goes further, he'll realize, okay, so now I don't have all this, you know, occupying my time, all this planning and all this for all these fundraisers and all this other kind of stuff. What am I going to fill that with? And then he's going to start looking inward and start developing that. I guarantee you he's going to do that, because I think we all do that. And that's what makes us valuable as past masters once we get there, because we all get past that stage and then we're able to sit and reflect. I'm so proud of the fact that you're going to be chaplain over at Roy City, because I think that it needs somebody like that in that seat that's going to sit back and reflect, and that's going to be there to offer that wise counsel. That's what the chaplain's job is. Just like I told you on Facebook, that is the job of the chaplain. He is underutilized in most lodges. 9 out of 10 lodges, the chaplain, and I would say probably 99% of all lodges, they underutilize the chaplain as to what he's supposed to be. Chaplain is supposed to be wise counsel to the master. That's why he's sitting right there, so that he's available to the master. I mean, that's it goes back to, you know, even in the dark ages and all that, the clergy has always been neck and neck with the king, as well as, you know, back before there was clergy, when there were mages, when it was all about magic and stuff, they were hand in hand with the king. That was the wise counsel. And that's the reality of the evolution of time. And so you're sitting in a position of probably the most important position you could be in, if your officers are wise enough to know that that's what you're there for, being the wise counsel. So I hope they are, and I hope they'll lean on you a little bit and see what successes you had and what failures you had, and work with that to help continue to develop the lodge, because you did a lot of great things this year. I just wanted to point that out. Couldn't be more proud of the membership that we have. Cody Stewart, man, he's one of the best committee on work guys that we have at Grand Lodge, hands down. Everybody feels that way. Everybody who knows Cody loves Cody, and everybody who knows Cody knows he loves the work, and he loves good work. It doesn't have to be perfect work, but it does have to be good, and it has to be there with purpose and meaning. He wants everybody to understand the importance of what they're saying, which is far beyond a lot of the instructors I've ever met in my life. And then Jeff, man, I'm so glad you're back. I'm like Justin. I didn't know what happened. You know, you could have dropped the line and said, "Hey guys, you know, I'm just busy right now. Y'all are second fiddle to me. literally. But no, that's okay. We love you and we're glad you're back. And, I got to tell you that I am extremely proud of watching you go through this journey and the discussions that we've had, and now seeing you thriving in your lodges and being excited about Freemasonry and getting all that you're getting out of it from in Kansas. I mean, that's exciting. I almost came up there not too long ago, and I was going to look you up because I wanted to visit some of the lodges. But man, if y'all can keep cultivating, that membership like you are, creating the value in the membership, that's exactly what the brother that's made himself available for Grand Junior Warden this year has done. Brother Robert Park, his whole thought, and it has been for a long time. It's not just right now. It's not just a slogan, but his whole idea is we don't have a membership problem. We have a value proposition problem within our lodges. If we would focus on bringing value to the membership we already have, we wouldn't have to worry about anything else. That would be enough. And that's true when we see that we've only got 10% showing up at lodges of the membership. Hell, that's less than what you usually find in the church. Usually you have the 80-20 rule in any organization, and we're down to 10%. That's pretty tough, man. So obviously we're not creating the value. So hats off to you, and hats off to all the Kansas Masons out there that are working hard to bring value to the lodges like they should. Education is critical. It all begins with education. We came out of the dark ages in the Enlightenment period, and that's where we sprouted as Freemasons. Freedom of thought, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, all those things that make America great, that made Freemasonry great to begin with. And we have to remember those things. And we can't allow the chaos to come back into those principles. We need to keep our focus, stay the course, and bring honor to the fraternity, or honor to the brotherhood, and honor to ourselves. And other than that, brothers, I love you, and I'm glad you're on. I have something to share with you after that you might be interested in hearing. It's a little disappointing, and probably why I'm so agitated right now. But for all yous outside the inner circle, you don't get to hear it, but you can keep it between the points.